Radiation sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, but it's a very real part of the world around us. From sunlight to medical imaging, we live surrounded by energy waves we can't even see. But when people talk about radiation exposure, they usually mean something far more dangerous: ionizing radiation. This type has enough energy to knock electrons out of atoms, breaking chemical bonds that hold our cells together. Imagine it like a microscopic hammer, invisible, but powerful enough to reshape your biology. We encounter small doses all the time: X-rays, airplane flights, or even natural background radiation from the Earth itself. At those levels, our bodies can handle it. Repair systems kick in and fix the tiny bits of damage. But when radiation levels jump suddenly or stay high for long periods, things change dramatically. It's not like a sunburn that fades. Radiation damage happens deep inside, at the level of your DNA. And DNA is the instruction manual for every cell you've got. When that manual gets torn or scrambled, cells can't divide correctly, leading to illness, cancer, or cell death. Doctors measure radiation exposure in units called sieverts and Gray's numbers that tell us how much energy our tissues absorb. For reference, a dental X-ray might give you 0.005 millisieverts, barely a whisper of energy. But whole body exposure of 1 Gray or more can already cause radiation sickness. Radiation sickness, or acute radiation syndrome, unfolds in 4 major stages. The first phase is the prodromal phase: nausea, fatigue, maybe vomiting, depending on how big the dose was. Your body senses something is wrong, but it doesn't yet know how bad. After that, oddly enough, comes the latent phase, where you feel almost normal again. It's the calm before the storm, the body quietly losing white blood cells and bone marrow function. Then comes the manifest illness phase, where the deeper damage starts to show up. Infections appear because your immune system can't rebuild fast enough. Bleeding starts because your platelets, the tiny clotting agents, are gone. Hair loss, skin redness, and weakness can follow as more cells fail to divide properly. At this point, doctors can only treat the symptoms: transfusions, antibiotics, hydration, and rest. If the dose was under 1 Gray, recovery is likely. Above that, survival becomes uncertain. Around 10 Gray, the gastrointestinal system itself starts to collapse. The intestines lose their lining, preventing absorption of nutrients and water. Dehydration, infection, and electrolyte imbalance set in, and medicine can do little to stop it. Above 20 Gray, the body's nervous system begins to fail. Fluid leaks into the brain, swelling it and shutting down the control centers that keep the heart and lungs running. At those extreme levels, death comes in days, sometimes hours. Thankfully, these levels of exposure almost never occur outside nuclear accidents or war. Most people will never experience anything close to it. Still, even lower, repeated exposure over years can add up. That's why radiation safety rules exist in hospitals, research labs, and power plants. Workers wear badges that measure cumulative exposure, ensuring it stays well below harmful limits. And patients get medical imaging only when the benefit outweighs the risk. So, how exactly does radiation do its dirty work inside us? Most of our cells are made largely of water, about 60% in fact. When high-energy particles strike water molecules, they can split them apart into free radicals. These radicals are unstable and eager to react, damaging nearby DNA or cell membranes. If enough of this happens, tissues lose their structure and can no longer heal. Think of it as rust forming inside your body, one molecule at a time. Fortunately, our bodies are resilient. Enzymes constantly patrol, repairing breaks and errors. But if the number of hits exceeds what those enzymes can handle, systems begin to fail. That's the tipping point where radiation turns from medical tool to deadly weapon. History has given us hard lessons about this, from Hiroshima and Nagasaki to Chernobyl and Fukushima. In each case, scientists studied the survivors to understand how radiation affects living tissue. Those studies helped define safe limits and medical treatments we still use today. For example, bone marrow transplants can sometimes restore the immune system after high doses. Drugs like potassium iodide can block radioactive iodine from lodging in the thyroid gland. And shielding thick walls, lead aprons, distance remains the most effective prevention of all. Interestingly, radiation isn't always the enemy. It's also a life-saving tool in medicine. We use it to kill cancer cells, sterilize equipment, and scan our organs. The key is control, precise targeting, low doses, and short exposure times. It's a reminder that almost any force of nature can heal or harm, depending on how we use it. So, what should you do if you ever face a radiation emergency? First, get inside, stay inside, and tune in. Those 3 steps save lives. Buildings shield you from fallout, and time reduces exposure as radioactive materials decay. Don't wash with harsh soaps or scrub skin. Gentle rinsing removes most surface particles safely. Keep food sealed and water stored until officials say it's safe. And remember, fear spreads faster than radiation, but calm action makes the difference. Radiation is powerful, invisible, and sometimes terrifying, but it follows the same laws of physics every day. Understanding it helps us respect it, control it, and protect ourselves from its worst effects. Because the more light we shine on what scares us, the less power it has to harm us.